nice bird.
On the road, I've been away for far too long, but now I'm on my way back home. I hear
We dreamed of this for so long, working tirelessly towards our goals for years. After a while, the effort makes you lose track of what you were pursuing. Then one day, you look up, and to your astonishment, find you're actually there, living what was once only a distant thought. You're living your dream.
won't be long. I'm there before the setting sun.
Yeah, so we go. What is I'll recap what's happened for the last year and a half since we last did a video. We continued up the Sea Cortez and ended up in Puerto Penasco. During that time, my dad passed away, so we had to go home, and even though it was planned to do all this, we had to go home and take care of those things, and then go to work in Mammoth Lakes
For the summer.
and also deal with, we had some renters in our house when we were in Mexico at that time.
It had 30 cats.
30 cats, and did a lot of damage. So we spent the summer working and repairing the house and figuring out what we were going to do, and got it done mostly before we headed back to Puerto Penasco, and did not a complete refit on the boat, but a pretty major amount of work. So many changes that we knew had to occur from that one season of cruising.
What are some of the things
So-
that we discovered through using the boat that we really wanted to change?
We had 2 Honda generators that worked, but they sucked actually quite a bit of gas when we used both of them. And they were loud, so we really couldn't just turn it on when we needed it. We really had to plan it out all the time. And then it was so loud that even in the boat, it was not a very comfortable experience. Plus, we had to carry a lot more gas. So we decided to put in an 8 kilowatt diesel genset. What were some of the other ones? Well, we did put in 2 AC units, mostly because if it gets really hot somewhere and we can't go to sleep, that becomes a real problem. So the generator actually allows us to use the air conditioner if we need to. We really haven't found a reason to use it a lot. We have used it a couple times just to cool things down for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, like, when we're at a marina somewhere in one of these places, they're going to come in very handy, whether that's for cold or hot, because they're heat pumps, so they'll do both. We put in a
Jet thruster.
jet thruster, which is a bow thruster and a stern thruster, and our boat doesn't turn in tight quarters very well. It's a really long full keel, and backing up, it'll go straight back. So as much as I can pivot the boat, I wouldn't want to be trying to do this in, say, a tight marina where if there was an error, we're running into a boat or the dock hard or something like that. So it was a big investment.
And quite a bit of work to put in because we had to have, 3-inch hoses?
3-inch line had to run down the boat.
The entire length of the boat.
But
It's already come in handy quite a bit.
Yeah, we got it in. It really helps with anchoring, and it helps just if we need to pivot really quickly. Between doing the standard forward reverse pivoting with the prop walk, the jet thrusters in combination with that just makes us pivot almost in place like a fin keel. So that's great. We replaced the compressor units and the evaporators for the freezer and the fridge. And it took a little bit to get the freezer dialed in, but now it's dialed in and it's awesome. It stays frozen no matter what the conditions are.
Which means we can have ice cream.
Ice cream. That's right. 2 thumbs up with ice cream. And
What else did we do?
we put in some electronics. We changed the depth sounder out, which is great because we have a fish finder now, but it shows us the bottom and it shows us what we're going over. That's been immensely handy. Where the old one just showed depth, but if it didn't show anything, you didn't know what was going on, even though you might say, no, it's 50 feet and it's not showing it. So this one, we can actually see what's happening. And that's awesome. I think we put in the new inverter. So it's tied in now with our Victron system. It's a Victron inverter. So we're able to control that and see what's happening with that. We ended up moving having through this process, having to move our batteries and stuff like that. So we really kind of just dialed in some of the systems that were already there and just made them more functional and better.
Yeah, and then we did the bottom of the boat, stripped it and painted it.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
So then we put the boat back in the water in Port Penasco in late March and got going down the Sea of Cortez. I think it was about 3 weeks we took to get down the Sea of Cortez and get to La Paz. Actually, maybe less than that. Yeah, it was about 3 weeks. Maybe we left the last week of March. Got there mid-April. Got some resupplied the boat. Got checked out, and then headed across the Pacific. We landed in Nuka, Hiva, and that's kind of where we're picking up now. We didn't have a lot of video. I actually lost about 5 months of video just through a really stupid move on my part. And that's partly why we aren't going to have any videos catching up through that whole period, is because I lost the video. Yep, lesson learned. So yeah, we made a Nuka Hiva. We ended up having to spend a month there, which we'll talk about a little later, why. We've had through the crossing, which we don't have tons of footage on the crossing, but we did have certain problems on the crossing. Things break. Our hydraulic system, which is part of the whole Nuka Hiva thing. And, but we made it here.
Yep.
We made it here. And after a month of Nuka Hiva, we moved on. And that's actually where we're going to fully pick up, which is here in Rariola.
And it was nice this summer too to go back to the mountains.
Oh, I totally enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Totally enjoyed it.
While we're thoroughly enjoying being out here on the South Pacific Islands, it's really nice to be in the mountains and going backpacking and rock climbing, and
Sure.
did a nice trip.
That's going to be on hold for a while, and we'll see where we get to this year. We're going to get to New Zealand and go back, and it will be snowy when we get to the mountains, so we won't be doing that stuff. So,
But I might be going customs.
what you got to do. So when we made it to Nuka Hiva, we'd had many problems along the way. Most of them small things like water intrusion that could be dealt with, but the biggest one is we had a major problem with the steering system here. The hydraulic pump had gone out twice. I would eventually find out that was a defective pump that I bought, and I eventually got the old pump repaired and put in, and seems to have fixed it. But on the hydraulic system itself is that when the system is in lock, I should be able to turn this wheel and have it stay in position no matter what the conditions are outside. But what happens right now on the boat is that you turn the wheel, you let it go, and eventually what you'll find is that the rudder will go from the position it is, and it'll fall back to neutral
on its own, which it shouldn't do when it's in lock. Now, a couple things that could be causing that. One is slippage inside the actual ram, the cylinder, or it could be slippage inside the pumps and the lock valves. I really don't know. I had a couple options to order parts, which were going to take about 2 weeks to get delivered. So by the time I actually got them ordered, and it took about a week to get delivered, we ended up being there a month. When I got the parts, first thing is I bought a reseal kit for the existing cylinder, but because we didn't know if we could repair them, and our cylinder and our pump are so old, I went ahead and I bought a new cylinder and a new pump so I could just rebuild the system altogether. I'm here in the engine room, and when the parts came in, I needed to look at this and decide whether I could put in the new system, which would have been the best thing to do, but I really couldn't, because I realized that they really hadn't sold me all the parts I would need to do that. And on top of that, I have this bracket here, right here, which is with the old pump, steering pump. And the new pump, though it's the same size and it's kind of a direct replacement, it mounts slightly different than this one. So this mount won't work at all, and I'll have to redo it completely. In a Nuka Hiva, there isn't resources for that. So I rebuilt the cylinder with the new seal kit and bled it. Took about 4 days for us to finally get the bleeding, as I found that the hose goes through the boat ups and downs, creating air pockets. And then we said, well, this is gonna have to make do to get us to Papeete, Tahiti, where there should be supplies to do the rest of it. But I have a new cylinder and a new pump waiting to be installed. So things were good. We had made repairs, got into a position we could leave, and had been spending time with friends, enjoying Nuka Hiva. It was time to move on and see what was out there, and we were ready.
Somewhere new. We watch the sky fade into the night. With you, my arms, nothing can go wrong. We'll fall asleep on a starlit beach, just us two.